Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about to the video is another paid request, this time from Alban. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that, man. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, commentaries, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Alban wanted me to talk about my top 15 favorite films of 1982. And let's go backwards. I mean, 1982 was definitely a great year for movies. Number 15, I put Airplane 2, the sequel. I think it's a fun parody, just like the first Airplane. You also have the benefit of having William Shatner, who I think steals the show in that movie. These lights are blatant, and they're just blatant and blatant. It's silly, it's goofy, but it's a fun parody movie. Before the parody movies got killed off with crap like Epic Movie, Disaster Movie, Meet the Spartans. When those Seltzer Birders, Seltzer Bottle, whatever the hell those guys did parodies. Same with the also the Scary Movie 5s, those sequels. They killed parody, which is a shame because I liked a lot of parody movies. Hot Shots Part 2, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. Don't be a Mrs. South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. You know, that stuff. But Airplane 2 I do find a fun sequel. Number 14, I put Blade Runner. I know people say that'd be too low. I like Blade Runner, as in, I like the visuals. Vangelis' score is fantastic. Rutger Hauer steals the show in terms of acting. His speech of Tears and Rain still hits emotionally, especially when you watch it at the end and Rutger Hauer's passed away. But I actually like the sequel more. I like Blade Runner 2049 more. And the movie I never loved. I remember when I first saw it, I hated it, and that was with the Harrison Ford narration that was boring as hell. Which apparently he did that on purpose for him not to use it, but they used it anyway. But then when I saw like the director's cut, as it was called at that time, I liked it, but I just don't find Harrison Ford's character that interesting of a character. And I really don't care for his love story with the Sean Yun. That love story just never interested me. I don't think they have much chemistry with each other. And like I said, compared to other Harrison Ford characters, whether it be Indiana Jones or even Han Solo or others, it just was never that interesting of a character. Maybe because you really don't learn anything about him, and even depending on which cut you see, there's a question of, is he even human, is he not human? But you, like I said, you never really learn anything about him. You really never know anything about him. And, I mean, you learn more about Ryan Gosling in the sequel as a character. You don't really learn anything from Deckard and who he is, and even to a point of what he is. So, like I said, that and the love story just never interested me. But it's great in a visual and musical experience. And like I said, Rutger Hauer did a wonderful job. Number 13, Creepshow, great anthology. I don't care for the first story with the take, where Ed Harris spends like 80 minutes looking at a slowly moving headstone. He can move and escape, but he stands there, or he sits there and doesn't move, and he doesn't move, and then just lands on his head. That whole story, I thought, other than some decent makeup effects at the end, I just didn't care for it. But I do enjoy the other stories. I enjoy the creeping up on you. The whole cockroach story I always find very creepy. I still do. The crate story I think is the best. I love the bits between Hal Holbrook and Adrienne Barbeau, where he's imagining what he would do to her. That gets a very dark comedy aspects. I love the creature, which I think Tom Savini nicknamed Fluffy. I think it's a cool looking creature. Gets some nice gore. I also like the story with Leslie Nielsen. Just, I think I had seen like the Naked Gun films and such first, or I thought Leslie Nielsen as comedy actor, but this showed that there's more in his catalog. He did play a very, very good scumbag. It was interesting to see Ted Danson in there, and Leslie knows a lot of fun. I could hold my breath for a long time. Let's see. So yeah, it is a fun anthology. Even Stephen Teen. Stephen Teen, for the type of character he's playing, it's a very goofy tone, but it kind of fits with the whole way that story is done and shot. Has great color scheme, has a wonderful score. Easily one of the best anthologies out there. Number 12, I put The Challenge. It's a film not many people know about, but it stars Scott Glenn. Pretty much he's hired for this job and he goes overseas, but then he gets taught by these folks and kind of learns a bit of the notion of the samurai, and he kind of warms up to these people. I think it was a Toshiro Mifune. It's been a while since I've seen The Challenge, so forgive me if I get the names wrong. He kind of learns their customs and realizes that the people he's working for are the people in the wrong, and he starts to earn the respect of these folks. The reason I liked it, number one, I like Scott Glenn as an actor. I thought he did a really good, capable job. He's a guy that used to be like a boxer, but he's a bit washed up, and you get to see him kind of regain a bit of that, of his own self-worth. Has a fun bit finale where they're supposed to get this sword, but at the same time, some people have been taken, and him and this girl's father go into this compound, and Scott Glenn's shooting people while the other guy's fucking people up with a sword, and you get a really cool sword fight scene where the one guy's been wounded with a bullet, and it's not really a fair fight. So Scott Glenn gets a sword. He's like, "Come on, asshole!" And they both get in this one-on-one fight in this like office room. And it was great because like they're using all this equipment, they're using the environment to their advantage, and they're hopping around the room, and even to the point where Scott Glenn finally kills the guy, and the guy's head goes like psst, like this, like a fucking wishbone. Like, I thought, ooh, that was such like a nice violent notion, and thought that was a good way to end the movie. So I'm being vague on it for people to check out. It did finally get a Blu-ray, but The Challenge is always one of those films I thought was fairly under the radar. It's definitely worth a look. Again, I made it kind of... I didn't want to get too in detail the plot for those who want to check it out, and definitely worth a look. I think it was John Frankenheimer who directed it, I believe. I could be wrong on that. Who did The First Connection 2 and among other stuff. Number 11, I put Q the Winged Serpent. Larry Cohen. Definitely Larry Cohen. He was a director and a writer that really made interesting, quirky movies that felt original. Whether it be The Stuff, whether it be The Ambulance with Eric Roberts, or whether it be this film. Has a great cast. You got Michael Moriarty as this thief. And one thing leads to another, he is with these other guys, and they're trying to get stuff from him, and it looks like they're ready to kill him. But lo and behold, the environment they're in, there has to be this creature that has made a nest on top of the building. I think there's even some eggs there and stuff. It's a nest. And it kills the other guys, and Michael Moriarty escapes. Meanwhile, this creature will go around the city, picking people up off of roofs and such, tearing them off for food. And then Michael Moriarty's like, you know what, I'll tell you where it's at, but I want this, and I want this money, and I want this. So he kind of holds the city for blackmail to get this shit in. David Carradine, I think, is one of his better roles as a cop, because he's given a good sense of humor. He's given some fun dialogue, the showcase. And like David Carradine really makes it work. I actually would say it's my favorite performance from him. You also have Richard Roundtree, who was in the film Shaft. You have, I forget her name. She was in the Blah remake as the waitress. I forgot her name now. But she plays the girlfriend of Michael Moriarty's character. The creature's done in stop motion, which I find charming. And I think worked well for the low budget they had. And still has more charm than a shitty CGI effect nowadays would. But yeah, always enjoyed Q the Winged Serpent. I think that's a fun one. Q meaning Quetzalcoatl. And you also realize it's also a bit with this cult that likes to take out hearts. And that's kind of in part with the creature. Number 10, I put Halloween 3. That's a film I've never hated. When I first saw it, I'm like, okay, this is different, but I love the atmosphere it brings out. Fantastic score. I love the cast. I mean, the cast is a very likable cast. Oh my god, what? Anytime I do videos now, I'm always bad with names. I don't know what it is. Like, my mind's going with names. I cannot believe I cannot remember the lead guy. He was in Night of the Creeps. Oh my god, that pisses me off that I can't remember him. He was in Lethal Weapon. I'm gonna be so pissed at myself after the fact. In fact, I'm gonna get my fucking phone because I'm so pissed at myself. But yeah, I think the plot was interesting enough, and I did what they were going for and wanting to get away from Michael Myers because the Michael Myers story was done by the time of Halloween 2. Yeah, that story was done. There's nothing more you could do with it, and I thought the way the director Tony Wallace shot the movie had that feel of a John Carpenter film, but the same in the plot dealing with the cult and the Halloween mass. Pretty ballsy plot as well to play a trick on the children. You have some decent, effective, violent sequences. Whether it be a guy getting his head taken off or a kid wearing the mask and watching the TV commercial, and then pretty much turn into fucking bugs and shit. And like, oh shit, you know. That really definitely sells the villainy of our antagonist. It still has a 5.1. Well, I remember back in the day it was a lot lower, but yeah, Tom Atkins. How the hell did I forget his name? God, I'm so bad with names nowadays. I don't know what it is. Well, 5.1 is still too fucking low. But yeah, and Dan O'Hurley as the villain, who was the old man in RoboCop and among other stuff. Listen, that movie just has a lot of interesting material in terms of its story. I think even aesthetically the mask looked pretty cool and creepy. And it's one of those things where never thought the movie was as bad as people made it out to be. Never thought that. But, you know, that's just me. But yeah, I thought it was pretty. Even the ending, I think it works in the question mark fashion. Now, granted, when he's calling why the fuck anybody would listen to a random guy saying, yeah, we'll shut off our commercial. I don't know who you are, but okay. But in this movie universe, he's able to do it twice. So if he's able to maybe do it twice, maybe he's able to do it a third time. So it does make for an effective ending. Stop it, stop it, stop it! And yeah, that question mark. So I think that's a way of doing that effectively with the acting by Tom Atkins, the way the music is handled, and everything in between. I thought that was I thought that was effective. Number 9, I put Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Star Trek II is one of those movies where it is a damn good movie. I like other I like other Star Trek films more. I like Star Trek 4 more. I like Star Trek the Motion Picture more. Yes, I do. Which just I like the Trek part of that Star Trek movie. Felt like a journey, which I appreciated. But Star Trek 2, I mean, easily has the best villain in Khan. It definitely has more action compared to the first one, done in a type of sort of like Navy action. Imagine submarines fighting each other, only if the submarines were in the stars. That's kind of the purpose. Or that's not even submarines, that's the wrong way to put it, but like ships out in sea, I should say. Like ships out in sea, and if they're shooting instead of cannonballs with phasers. William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and the cast do a great job with it. The said Khan is a very effective villain, and Ricardo Montalban really knew how to sell that character, sell that role. So I mean, Star Trek 2 is definitely worthy to be on any list of this nature. Well, I mean, Star Trek 2: The Wrath of Khan. What more can I say about it? Number 8, They Call Me Bruce with Johnny Yoon. This is a film that is a comedy. It's a very silly comedy with this guy. It's a very weird comedy, and I don't know how appropriate it would be in today's age. I mean, the fucking song at the beginning is Oriental boy, watch out, go, go, go. But it's such a weird song, it kind of sets up the frame of the movie. It's one of those scenes where Johnny Yoon, he was a stand-up comedian back in the day. Although from what I hear, there's some people in the community that don't really respect him nowadays because they didn't really appreciate his type of stand-up comedy. But he finally got in the movies, and this was successful enough to make a sequel. But it's a kind of it's a silly parody type of thing. There's a bit of him walking, the music kind of sounds like Saturday Night Fever, Staying Alive. There's a bit where people think of as like, I want to be fast like Bruce Lee. I want to be strong as Rocky. Rocky? And you start hearing like the Rocky theme, but then it turns to his own music so it don't get sued too much. And he's trying to drink the egg yolks, but it's like, fuck it, and he starts making it into a different type of food and cooking it. It just, Johnny Yoon sincerely made me laugh. I mean, the plot is nothing spectacular, but it's, I can still remember moments of this making me chuckle. For example, when he's trying to go in the train, and you have the master being calm, and then he goes, takes a phone call, and just starts doing, you motherfucker, ah! And he walks out, see, you need to be calm. Or like there's a bit where Johnny Yoon's supposed to hit this thing, and he goes, ah! And then this piece of glass blows up behind them, and the master's like, did you do that? He's like, no, Memorex. And, you know, for those who don't remember the Memorex commercials where the music is so great it'll make everything else, you know, blow up and glass blow up because the music in Memorex is so fine-tuned. Anyway, I just found it a very funny movie, very entertaining film. Number 7, Poltergeist. It's Poltergeist, what can you say? Good ghost story with the suburban families. The family worked well together. Craig T. Nelson in the group. Heather Ward seemed like a very sweetheart of a child. disregarding who directed it, Toby Hooper or Steven Spielberg, the effect scenes were worthwhile. The score by Darius Goldsmith, effective. The effect sequences for that time, pretty on point. That whole closet, like, ghost creature thing that's in a lot of the publicity stills, still cool to see. Even the simple shots where the mom wanders off, then when she wanders back in, all the chairs have been stacked. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool because it's done in the as quick to go right back. Scenes like that, as well as the more bigger sequences, all work well together. Definitely, I would say one of the best in the ghost story realm, Poltergeist. Number 6, Class of '84. I love the Alice Cooper theme. I am the future. Da 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 da. Take a look at my face. I belong to the future. Pretty much a new teacher going to the school, but a school run by Danes, and one leads to another. He's pushed too far. He's got to fight these Dane members. I thought the guy who played the villain, the leader of the Danes, was very effective and smart. There's even a bit where he's having a conversation with the teacher in the bathroom, but instead of hitting the teacher, he starts hitting himself against the glass. And so when the people come in, he's like, he did this to me, he did this to me. I thought, okay, that was a rather smart thing to do. The lead is Perry King, was it? Yeah, like I said, bear with names. I know his first name's Perry. He was relatable, likable enough that you can understand his frustration. You also have Roddy McDowall from the original Fright Night and Planet of the Apes in the film as a teacher who's had enough and at one point teaches a class by gunpoint. And I think Michael J. Fox has an early role in this as one of the classmates attacked by these gang members. It was also rousing when the teacher finally gets the comeuppance upon the Dane. He's able to take them out. You get some decent violent moments. Some nice stunt work with people on fire. Usage of saws, I'll put it that way. So you definitely get like a satisfying ending. The bit of that bloodlust. So yeah, Class of 1984, from the same director that would go do Commando, Mark Lester. I also like the sequel, Class of '99. And I'm not sure which I like more, but I do like both of them. Class of '99 is cool because it has more of a sci-fi, even crazier and a sci-fi plot. That makes it fun. Number 5, I put Silent Rage. Come on, it's Chuck Norris versus Michael Myers. That's really what it is. It's a very creepy score. You got some Chuck Norris kicking ass, taking names. You got this guy that's part of an experiment. Technically more like a Frankenstein type of experiment. But the fact that a good chunk of it is him in the hospital stalking people makes me think of Halloween 2. That's why I say it's like Chuck Norris versus Michael Myers. It's the guy that will not die. And I can't find them anymore, but there were people that would edit scenes of like Chuck Norris, this movie, and Michael Myers Halloween 2 that make it seem like they're in the same film. It was also, I'm a sucker for when action heroes go into that horror film realm. Some would say this is more sci-fi, but I would call horror. A little bit of a slasher element. Let's say I'm a sucker for that, whether it be Sylvester Stallone in ICU, and Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator and End of Days, and I love that combo. We'll love to have seen more of that. But yeah, Silent Rage is cool. It's a great title too, Silent Rage. Number 4, Rocky 3. Love Rocky 3. My favorite is Rocky 4, but Rocky 3 is my second favorite. Mr. T does wonderful as the antagonist. It was great to have Apollo Creed be an ally and teach Rocky how to get the Eye of the Tiger back. I thought that was a great development of Apollo Creed's character. And it made some very fun training montages. The music by Bill Conti's on point. You have that great song "Eye of the Tiger," of course, and YouTube definitely has one of the best boxing bits in any of the movies, because Rocky's actually shown a bit of uh, planning and isn't just taking 85 hits and then coming back for more. He's actually using strategy. That's the word I'm looking for. It's one of the only times you see Rocky use strategy. Because he's trained by Apollo and he's ducking and he's moving, he's going back and forth and he's tired. So, I mean, part of me almost wants to say it's my favorite fight in any of the Rocky films because of that. Although I love the fight Rocky 4, but that's definitely more of just, I hit you, you hit me 18 times, and then I don't go down, then Rocky, hits Drago back. That's one thing I wish Rocky used a bit more of a strategy in Rocky 4 like he did in this movie. To keep a bit of what he learned from Apollo. Does it look like he just forgot everything Apollo teached him and taught him? I mean, yeah, Adrian, by this point, Talia Shire really doesn't have much to do in these movies. Like in Rocky 3 and 4. But, like I said, Mr. T works well. He's having a lot of fun. I even like the bit between Rocky and Hulk Hogan, Thunder Lips. I think Stallone has some fun bits. You're a really big guy. How about do this, huh? And softly taps. Catch me! He's just thrown out of the ring. Very fun movie, Rocky 3. Love that movie. Number 3, 48 Hours. What made Eddie Murphy a star? I mean, he has excellent chemistry with Nick Nolte. They have fantastic back and forth with each other. Definitely more un-PC dialogue. And you can tell, like, if you watch this and then you watch another 48 Hours, tell the sequel, the dialogue's toned down a bit. Because in this one, you have the usage of the N-word and other stuff, and it seems a lot more motherfuckers and... You feel a little bit more animosity between the two leads, which is even that more surprising when they have such good chemistry and they work well together. And there's still moments that make me laugh. Eddie Murphy going, "Jad, tell me a story. Fuck you." That's my favorite. Or when they get into the fight, "Oh, you throw me in fucking garbage." And they're going back and forth with the fist fight. When Eddie Murphy takes over the bar. "What the fuck is this money? Tax refund. Bullshit. Too fucking stupid to have a job." The new sheriff in town. His name's Reggie Hammond. 40 Hours is just a lot of fun. Roxanne. Can I have my lighter back, Reggie? Idea 40 Hours is easily one of my favorite Eddie Murphy films. It's still hilarious to watch to this day. I need to pick up the Blu-ray. I keep lollygagging around it, but love that movie. Number 2, First Blood. Come on, it's Rambo. It's First Blood. I do like Rambo 2 and 3 and 4 more, because those full-blown action films is more my personal cup of tea in terms of movies and entertainment. But First Blood is a damn good movie. It has a wonderful performance by Stallone. Has a great usage of the environment when he's hunting the cops in the woods. You have great dialogue. "Don't push it. I'll give you more you won't believe. Let it go. Let it go." You have a fantastic score by Jerry Goldsmith. You have wonderful work by Brian Dennehy and Richard Crenna. You really feel for Rambo's character. People that want to make fun of Stallone and say he can't act, look at the finale in First Blood and the whole speech he gives. "About that I could fly a chopper. I could drive a tank. Bet you can't keep a job. Parking cars!" And the way he loses it, breaks down, really gives you that feeling of what this guy's been through and just letting all that baggage go. First Blood is fantastic. And number one, John Carpenter's The Thing. It's John Carpenter's The Thing. It's the closest you get to a perfect horror movie. You have a fantastic cast: Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, Teef David. You have a creepy, effective story by Ennio Morricone with touches of John Carpenter. You have wonderful cinematography by Dean Cundey that really showcases the isolation and the cold of Antarctica. That shows these people are fucked. You have some of the best makeup effects of all time by Rob Bottin. Fantastic effects. You have a great sense of paranoia of who's the Thing and who's not the Thing. And a cool idea. If you mimic perfectly, how can I tell if you're my friend or you're my enemy? It's a great movie, John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean, it's The Thing. What more can I say? If you haven't seen John Carpenter's The Thing, what are you waiting for? So yeah, number one, John Carpenter's The Thing. 2, First Blood. 3, 48 Hours. 4, Rocky 3. 5, Silent Rage. 6, Class of 84. 7, Poltergeist. 8, They Call Me Bruce. 9, Star Trek 2. 10, Halloween 3. 11, To the Winged Serpent. 12, The Challenge. 13, Creepshow. 14, Blade Runner. And 15, Airplane 2, the sequel. So, there you go. I know, no Conan the Barbarian. I like Conan the Barbarian. I never loved it like other people did. I actually like Conan the Destroyer more. There's parts in that I just don't care about him getting horny with the witch and the witch going ape shit, and then really nothing comes of that. Or him dying and all these shadow people try to take him. It's like there's certain parts of that I don't care for. And I like James Earl Jones and I like some other things about it. It just, I think the pacing of that kind of goes up and down for me. Like there's parts I don't mind, and follows with parts I just kind of bored with. I like the film, but I don't love it like other people. I much prefer Conan the Destroyer and other Arnold films, The Terminator, True Lies, The Running Man, Predator, and more. So that's down the list. Force Vengeance is a fun Chuck Norris film, but when I watched that again, it didn't have as much action as I remember, but there's still a decent amount of action and Chuck Norris kicking ass. It's just that when he's not doing that, there's not really much else to the movie in terms of plot or character or anything, but it's still a fun Chuck Norris film. You know, Friday the 13th Part 3 I like, but to me it's kind of a lesser version of Part 2. Although I do love the hockey mask put in there. But the lead, was it Dana Kimmel? Not nearly as good as Amy Steele in the previous film. But I still like Friday the 13th Part 3. And Tron, I like Tron. Just these other films I liked more. But with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.